Hello everyone, how are you all doing? Great. So let's start with our next video, which is about Python arithmetic operations, string, and then we will include indexing. In previous video, you learn about various data type in Python. Next, let's learn about arithmetic operations. Arithmetic operations are integral part of every programming language. So let's understand how you perform these arithmetic operation in Python. Okay, so let's give this heading and I'll change this cell to markdown and let's give it a title. It says arithmetic operations. So just like any other language, Python follows common mathematical symbols to perform basic arithmetic operations. Let's try a few arithmetic operations on two variables, a and b. So I'm going to define a is equal to 6 and b is equal to 7. Next, I'm going to perform addition. So let's say print addition is equal to comma a plus b. Okay, let's run this. Okay, that's what we get. Print subtraction a minus b. Shift enter. Okay, same for multiplication. We just do a multiply b. Shift enter. And let's do one more. Division a divided by b. Shift enter. Okay, that's what you get when you divide 6 by 7. Now let's have a look at other version of division, that is floor division. If you want to take floor division, then you simply do print floor division comma a double slash b and shift enter. So this is what you get, was floor division. Now let's have a look at modulus is equal to, and we write it like a percentage b. Shift enter and you get a modulus. Now let's try exponential is equal to, and we write it like a double multiplication and b. Okay, shift enter, you get exponential. Let's try more complex calculations. Now if you recall, mathematical operations follows a precedence rule called PEMDAS. Okay, P as parenthesis, E is exponentials, and D division, M multiplication, A addition, and S subtraction. Okay, so if you want to calculate this, print, if I do it like 4 multiply 5 out of the bracket minus 9 plus 6 divided by 7, and you do shift enter. So this is how it is calculated. So first in this calculation, this bracket will be calculated. So 4 into 5, 20, and then division. So 6 by 7 we already calculated is 0.85, and then multiplication, then addition and subtraction. Okay, so 9, this will add into 9.85, and 20 minus 9.85 is 11.85. Okay, so this will be performed, this calculation will be performed according to this rule only. Okay, so now you know that the order of these calculation is performed on the basis of this rule. Now let's talk about some string operations. So I'll convert this cell in markdown and give a title string operation. Shift enter. So you understand that 90% of data in the world is in the form of text form, right? Is in the text data form. And Python handles text data generally by the string data type. and this makes string one of the most important data type. Hence, learning how to work with string is very important. And in this video, you will learn about the various operations like multiplications and other things applicable to string. So let's start. Here, let me mention that string is immutable type, means it cannot be modified. And whether you assign a character or string, you always use single quotes or double quotes, which represents a character, right? So you can either use single quotes or double quotes. So I define a variable like a C is equal to, so with in single quote, I just say that Z and D is equal to Mike and E is equal to. So double quotes also, let's take double quote also. So both can work. As I mentioned, you can either use single quotes or double quotes. So let's say it John. Now let's write a command. Let's write a print command. So let's say C, D and E. Let's say print all the variables together. So this is how we can print. Now let's learn one more thing. I think we all have faced this problem that you are writing a string. You are writing a string, and your string already has few words which has inverted comma. Okay, like did not. So didn't you can write with inverted comma. So how can we handle those things in our string? If you are writing a string like and mentioning it with single quotes, and here you are writing a sentence which has this. Okay, so this is an error. This will give you an error because your string is stopping after n and this t is unrecognized. So how can we handle that? So like I want to write I did not know. Okay, so let's print this sentence. So there are two ways. One, with if you are using single quotes, then you can do I did not know. Before your single quotes, you mention this backslash and then you continue with the sentence. Okay, did not know, and your single quotes close here. Now let's try run this code and your sentences as it is what you want to print. So you use this backslash before the inverted comma. Okay. Second, you simply use double quotes. So here I did not know. Okay, and you can write your sentence. So these are the two ways, one with the double quotes and one with the backslash, using the backslash before inverted comma. So that's how you can write these kind of sentences. Okay, next, now this escape character which we saw earlier, we can also use it to enter a new line. Let me write it here. So you can use this escape character to enter a new line. Let's try this command. So I want to write print hey John and this backslash n, and you write the next line, how are you? Shift enter, run the code. So hey John, how are you got printed. This line, how are you got printed in the next line. Now next, let's learn about string concatenation. Let's try building a system that could ask for flavor and the type of dessert user wants. Okay, let's type it here. So let's try this. Let's write our code. So I'll type here. So first I want to know about the flavor. So I'll type flavor and I want to take input from user. Again, input keyword we use to take the input and double quotes. What flavor would you like? We can type question mark, and let's type next line of code is dessert type. Can say again we want to take input from user. Let's write what type of dessert do you like, and you run the code. So this is the output of your first command, and let's say let's enter the input from user. So user says vanilla is the flavor, and what type of dessert do you like. So this is the second line of code. So let's say ice cream. Okay, and enter. So these are the two inputs we got from user. Now let's print a message for the user telling what flavor and dessert type they have given. So let's write another command. So print double quotes, you have entered flavor plus, and then in this single quotes we want to say, we put hyphen and then we say dessert type. So whatever input user has provided for flavor and dessert type, that will get displayed here. So let's run this code. So we forgot this plus sign here. So when you want to, either if you want to just display flavor and dessert, you can write it like this, flavor plus dessert. But I want to add this hyphen. So after plus sign, you put the hyphen, put the string, whatever you want to add in within the inverted comma. Then you update the later part of the string. Now run this code. So you have entered vanilla ice cream. So this got printed and it will be displayed to user. So we have built a system here where user can provide the flavors and dessert type, and the message will get printed, will be displayed to the user. Okay. So that's what we can do. So you have simply concatenated the two strings, flavor and dessert type, and that's how we do the concatenation. Now let's learn the other things. So let's say I'll give the heading indexing. Shift enter. So there are type of indexing. Okay. So forward indexing and the reverse indexing. Okay. So let's write down. So we are going to read about all these 4 points. Forward indexing, reverse indexing, string as immutable, and string can be modified by slicing. So we'll read about the slicing. So let's learn about one function here, len function. So this len function is to know about the length of the string. Let's write a string here. So let's run this string. I have not failed. I have just found 10,000 ways that won't work. So shift enter. And then next is to find the length of the function. How would you know the length of the string? So we simply use this function len in the bracket. We write give the input, that is string. So shift enter, you get the 79. So this is the length of the string. So now if you want to access the first character, if you want to use the first character, so how will you get the first character from this long string? So we have this indexing function. So let's say string, and in the bracket, in square bracket, we give the number of the indexing. So all forward indexing always start with 0. So we have this string and the first character is I. So indexing for this character is 0, because in Python string indexing starts from 0. So let's type 0 and run this. You get the I. I is the first character which has indexing 0. Let's try one more here. String, square bracket, and 1. Run. So get this, you get nothing, and just get the inverted comma because there is something available, that is space. So after I, you have space, and for that space you have the indexing 1. If I do string 2, you get H. So that's how forward indexing works. So from the starting, this is the forward indexing, that you are moving left to right direction, and first character is indexed as 0. Now next, let's learn how we can access the last character. So there are two different ways to access this last character in the string. One, that you already know the length of the string from this len function is 79, and indexing for the last character is 78. 0 to 78, if you count, it makes 79, right? So the indexing for last character is 78. So let's try this. String, square bracket, and 78. Run this code, you get the last character. Is it the last character? N. So you get the last character. There's one more way, is string, square bracket, -1 with a negative indexing. This is called reverse indexing. And if you do the forward indexing, it will start from 0. And if you do the negative indexing, it will start with -1. So if you start giving the indexing number from the back, that then the first will be -1, -2, -3, -4. That's how we'll go. So for the last character, indexing will be -1. So let's run this code and you get N. So from both these codes, you get the same output, right? So either you can do this or you can do this one. This is forward indexing and this is reverse indexing. Okay. Now let's try changing the character in a string. So let's try to change the character at index 2. You try to do it at any index. So 2, and let's give it is equal to, let's make it T. So string at index 2, I want to place T. Run this code. It does not support because strings are immutable. It cannot be changed. Okay. So if you want to change the string, you will have to change the entire string. So you can type the string again. Okay. So this is your new string now. Print string you can also do. Okay. So your string has updated. So you have learned that strings are immutable. They cannot be changed. You have learned about the indexing, forward indexing and reverse indexing. Now let's talk about slicing. Slicing in string. So slicing operator used to break the string. Using slicing, you can abstract more than one character out of the string. Let's see slicing. So let's practice slicing by specifying start and index. So let's use the same string. First, print this. Let's find out the length. Length of the string, 72. And let's try slicing. So let's give it a name. Sliced string is equal to string square bracket 0. 0 is the starting index and 72 is the end index. Enter. Print. Not the string, but the sliced string. And shift enter. So you get the same string. Now let's try one more. Let's say you have batch, not a comma, that is a string, and 5 girls, 3 boys in a class. Okay. Let's do the slicing here. Girls equal to batch. So we are applying slicing on the batch, on the string. So batch is the string. And you just type 8. So if you don't mention 0, so that is by default that it is starting from 0 only. So we drop it. We can drop it. And if you run this code, so Python is case sensitive and we define capital B only. And shift enter. So you print girls. Shift enter, 5 girls. So you get 5 girls in the class. And then if you want to print rest of the string, so you do batch 8 colon, then you don't mention the end of the string, like you did not mention the 0 beginning of the string. You can also skip this. You do print enter and you get the 3 boys in the class. So that's how you do the slicing. Now let's learn more membership. So this is one of the property you can do. So let's go ahead. So string John, did you attend the conference on machine learning? Okay, so this is our string. And we can do one thing. We can check the characters, if those characters are available in your string or not. Those words are available. So the command we can write is print single quotes. And let's try to find if Neha is available in the string. In string. Shift enter. False. It is not available. But if we try to find print conference in string, it's true. Okay, so conference is available here. So that's one thing you can do. Okay, let's talk about few methods. The strings. Okay, let's change it to markdown. Okay, one is upper. So let's write small is a string, and you say I am uppercase. So this is small case, and if you want to change it to uppercase, so you can write small dot upper and print it. So now you can see that all the letters, all the alphabets have changed to upper capital letters. So that's what you can do. Another is lower. So you have large, I am small cased. You want to change, then you can write large dot lower, shift enter. So it is changed to lowercase. So that's what you can do. Next, you can learn about strips. So let's learn about this function, R strip. Let's write a sentence. There is space at the end. So that's the sentence, and I give some space at the end. So your sentence has some invisible space at the end. How can you handle these kind of sentences? And if there is something, some unwanted string you have at the end and you want to eliminate those, then how can we do that? So there are strip functions which we can use. So these are broadly used functions. You know, if you have handled the data, how frequently we use these kind of functions to clean our data, right? So first, let's print this sentence only, the string. So there is space at the end. So this is the sentence, and if you select, so there's space. Now you can see that there is a space after end word. To remove this, let's print one more command. Print sentence dot r strip function we use, and shift enter. Now if you select, so there's no space at the end, right? When you selected this, there's a space, and when you select this one, there's no space. So r strip is the function, but r strip is, so r symbolizes right side, and there's one more function, that is l strip, that works on the left hand side. R works on the right hand side. So this is the right hand side, right side of the sentence, and it removed those unnecessary things. Let's now try l strip function, and the sentence you have. So we have the space on the left hand side. There is space at the start. I'm not printing the sentence. I'm printing the sentence with L strip. Shift enter. Now there is no space at the start. Okay, so that's how we work with L strip and R strip. Let's work one more time with L and R strips functions. So let's write this sentence, number character, inverted comma, and we have some strict signs, and then we have sim numbers, and at the end we have some more symbols. Okay, now you just want the numbers. You want to eliminate these asterisk and hashtags. So you print num characters, numcat dot r strip. From the right hand side you want to remove hash, and strip from the left hand side you want to remove asterisk, inverted comma. So you run this command. So you get the number only, and that's how you work with L strip and R strip. Let's talk about one more method, is count method. Let's say string is, this is the sample sentence, and say you want to count all the i's in the sentence. How can you do that? So let's write the print command. String is the sentence in which we want to count, and use the count function here, method, and you want to count all the i's, and you run this command, shift enter, get 2. So there are 2 i's in the sentence. You can see there are 2 i's, right? 1 and 2. It gave you 2. Now let's say you want to count i's after some specific length of the string. You just want to count after the index 10, 12, 13, 14. So you don't want to count in the first half, you want to count in the second half only. Okay, so that also you can do. So let's say print string. So let's say I want to count after index 5, I and comma 5. So let's run this, and it gives you 1. So this 1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So these are the 5 index till this space. After this, so till this and space, it is counting the I. It is not counting this one. Okay, it is counting only this one. So it gave you 1 for this command. Okay. So these were the few commands, few methods, functions you can use on string. So you learn about the, arithmetic operations. You learned about string and the further features, further methods, further functions you can use. You learned about indexing, slicing, which you can use. But there's a lot to practice, and I will suggest you that you do it right now. If you are watching this video and you are serious about Python, and if you are serious about any other language, then when you are learning something, that is the only right time you practice. Okay, don't leave it for later. So I'm not saying that you must remember all these methods function by heart, but if you practice once, you will know what actually exists. So there's one command I can run, help str. So you run this help str and you get everything. Okay, so here there are all the methods you have. So I will suggest you, I'll recommend you all to go through these methods. I think till now you have understood that it is very interesting language and it is very easy to write. So good luck. Okay, and okay, I'll meet you in the next video. Thank you. Have a good day. Bye bye.